Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle, as we take a look at the combatants for this week's Class A state championship game, the 12-1 Thomas Terriers and the 14-0 Cashion Wildcats. And joining us now is Thomas head coach Bob Ward. Coach, congratulations on a remarkable season. You thought this year had a chance to be really special with all the experience you had coming back, and these kids certainly have not disappointed.
Thanks, Todd. We greatly appreciate it. We've been close, but we understand how hard it is to get there, so we're very fortunate.
These guys are making you an old man pretty quick, aren't they? I mean, the last couple of weeks, you have a goal line stand against Pawnee to win a game that you trailed by 2 touchdowns at halftime. And last week, I got the last 6 or 8 minutes of highlights against Ringling, and you come back with less than 5 minutes to go to win that football game.
Well, we want everybody to stay. We don't want anybody to feel cheated, so get their money's worth. But magically, it seems like when we get to the score of 20-7, we decide we want to start playing, and things kind of start going in our way.
Against Pawnee, I saw where you were quoted as saying, I told my guys, look, your careers are down to 24 minutes unless you can rally. And you have to like the leadership and the veteran nature that this team exemplifies.
Yeah, it's an advantage having a bunch of seniors. They understand they understand the end, so to speak, and they understand the curtain closing on them, and they understand they're on limited time. So when you have a bunch of seniors that have been close, it sure helps, where you can rally the troops in the locker room.
Bob, you have already played Cashion once. You lost to them in September, 28-7. When you left the field that night at Cashion, did you think this might not be the last time we see these guys?
Well, Todd, we don't like to talk about that night very much. It was, they got us pretty good that night. But, we were just hoping for another chance, and we knew we had a pretty good football team. And that night really opened up our eyes to do some things, and we had to make some adjustments, and we tipped our hat to Cashion because they, like I said, they got the better part of us that night. But we knew if we could fix a couple of things, and good Lord willing, we may have a chance, and fortunately it worked out.
What's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make since September? I know, first of all, you're just a better football team. I mean, everybody gets better as the course of the season goes along.
We felt like going into the season, our offensive line was our strong suit, so we probably relied on that a little bit too much. We've become a little more flexible, and we've become a little more open, so to speak, which is odd to say in a spread offense. But, we understand that we've got to take more chances, and, you can open up the running game by using the passing game more.
I want to talk about your quarterback, Jackson Ward, your son. You and I visited briefly about him before we came on. First of all, as a head coach, it has to be special to share this as a father-son duo. But, man, what your son has had to endure just to have a chance to win a state title for himself, for you, for Thomas, has to be very, very special.
It's
It's all right. Take your time, man, because this is cool stuff.
Well, this is the one question I don't handle very well. It's great to see kids go out there after they've had a lot of adversity, and to see him go out there and play the way he has, it's very special. One good story, I guess, we had a bad practice one day, and I got home and walked in the door, and I asked my wife, "Where's Jackson?" And she said, he heard you pulled in, so he ran up to his room and said, "I'm going to pretend like I'm asleep right now." So there's good days and there's bad days, but very special to have the opportunity to share this with him.
How do you approach that relationship? I mean, do you leave a lot of it at the high school, or do you guys do a lot of film study as a coach and the quarterback, not your son, the quarterback when you get home?
We try to separate football in the house as best we can. I think it's good for kids. I think it's good for adults, to leave your work at work and try to, make your home to make your home a different place. And occasionally, we'll sit down after a game and we'll watch the live stream and do things like that. But ultimately, we try not to bring that into the house.
Talk a little bit about Ethan Hamberlin. This guy has been a bell cow for you guys now for more than a year, and he's a guy that just seemingly makes big plays when you have to have one made.
Tremendous athlete, tremendous physical abilities, but tremendous eyesight as well. And we have a good offensive line. He's got great vision, and he's got a burst. He set the school record the other night for total yards in a career, actually beat his cousin's record off the 2014 team. So when you have an elusive runner and a special athlete that can see a gap and accelerate through it, it sure helps things.
You know, you have a lot of quote-unquote star players on this team, but they all check their egos in and they all play for one another. I mean, from what I've seen from you guys on film and saw you in the game against Cashion, I mean, it's almost like a puzzle that fits together perfectly.
Yeah, we've had some issues in the past, and that's probably the thing I'm the most proud of with this team. They've been able to overcome some things, and they understand that team overrides I. And we've been close. We got beaten the second round of dogfight and third round of dogfight. So I think they finally have come to the realization, that together we can all accomplish more.
Thomas head coach Bob Ward is our guest here on Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle. Bob, I also want to talk about Aiden Kelly. Everybody thinks Thomas football and Aiden Kelly. Aiden Kelly's one of those guys that says, hey, I'm just one of 11 out there on the field. He is a special, special kid. All of his talent aside, isn't he? I mean, wouldn't you classify him as more of a old school or throwback type kid?
I would, because of how physical he is, and he likes contact. And, off the field, he's a pretty easygoing guy, honestly. And then he gets out there between the lines and he turns into a physical specimen. So, very unique kid, very special kid. Gets up and goes to work. His dad's got an oil field, is related to some jobs in the oil field, and he helps him all the time. And he checks cattle, and, he likes to go hunting pigs and kill him with his bare hands, which makes me a little nervous. But, when you have those guys on the offensive line, you're going to be pretty decent.
But he's just a terrific young man, isn't he? I mean, an example is in the game in Cashion, he goes and singles out Cale Cochran at halftime and says, Coach, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you and praying for you. That's something that's not real typical in today's society from young people.
No, it's not. And he's he's a very special young man. He's a very nice young man, very genuine young man, and a very Christian man. So we're very blessed to have Aiden, and God has definitely touched him in a very special way.
All right, let's look quickly at the game on Saturday against Cashion. You obviously know them. They know you. What do you have to do better this time around from the first meeting to have a different outcome? They were more physical than us the first time we played. The Harrell kid in there just took the game over defensively, and we couldn't block him. And we've got to understand that in this type of game, just getting on your block's not good enough, because they're going to do everything they can to fight and get off that block. So we've got to be more physical. We've got to continue plays as the play goes along, and we got to execute a little better. You scored 7 points in the first meeting. Do you expect a lower scoring game than what you had combined in the earlier meeting, or do you expect just kind of a slugfest the way you guys have been able to develop from an offensive standpoint?
We're both pretty decent on defense, so It's kind of a hard question. It's hard to kind of guess what the game's going to be. When you have two good offenses and two good defense, sometimes it's really hard to predict the outcome. But we have a lot of respect for Cashion, and we understand how good their defense is, and we understand the things we got to do to stop them. So ultimately, if it's 7-6 or 80-79, as long as we have one more point than them, we'll take it.
Well, how about this, Bob? How about you just start down 20-7? Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Put it on the board right now.
Sounds good. Hey, I appreciate the time. Enjoy the week. Congratulations playing for another state championship, and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Todd. We appreciate everything Skordle does. You guys help us out here, and you help our kids out, and we greatly appreciate everything you guys do for us.
You're most welcome. Thank you. One of the best of the business, Bob Ward, head football coach at Thomas, on this edition of Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle.